good purposes for the common human life be realized in our midst. Oh God, grant us a vision.
carry on, Your Excellency. Guard of honor, show their arms.
House is privileged to have the presence of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, President of the Republic of Ghana, and Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces in the House. His Excellency the President is here in accordance with Article 67 of the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana to deliver a message on the state of the nation to this honorable House. On behalf of the leadership and honorable members of this august House, it is my privilege and singular honor to welcome His Excellency, the President of the Republic, to the House. Honorable members, I also have the greatest pleasure in inviting His Excellency, the President, to deliver his address. Your Excellency, you may now deliver your message.
Your Excellency, the Vice President, Your Ladyship, the Chief Justice, and members of the judiciary, honorable members of Parliament, I feel honored to stand once again before this august House, pursuant to Article 67 of the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, to present to you a message on the state of the nation. Mr. Speaker, as I enter the third year of my first term in office as President, I give praise to the Almighty God for continuing to preserve and pour His bountiful favor on our nation. I also express my endless thanks to the people of Ghana for giving me the opportunity to serve. This is a sacred honor and trust that I swore in my oath as President to always uphold. Next week, Ghana will mark its 58th independence anniversary, as an independent nation. The story of our nation since its proclamation at the stroke of midnight, 6th March 1957, by our nation's founder, Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, has been a story of resilience. That night, the euphoria in the air was palpable. And as Dr. Nkrumah uttered those famous words, at long last, the battle is ended. And thus, our beloved country, Ghana, is free forever. Our fathers and mothers faced the future with joy and excitement. Many of us were not born yet, but we are able to capture the mood of the moment, both through the narrations that were given to us by our elders and in the history books that we have grown up reading. As Nkrumah said, "Seek ye first the political kingdom, and all other things shall be added unto ye." All other things meant prosperity, a good quality of life, happiness, and even wealth. 58 long years later, we know that the reality of life is one of challenges. We have been in the pits together as a nation in times past, when our neighbors described us as a nation where people queued for toilet paper. In the early 80s, hunger stalked our land, and we were compelled to take raw kenkey home to cook ourselves because we were afraid we would lose out if we allowed the kenkey seller to cook it. But we've also celebrated many victories together. The story of Ghana is illustrated by a quote of the great African Nelson Mandela, when he said, "The greatest glory of living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. We've gone through many challenges as a nation, but our defining spirit as Ghanaians is that we have picked ourselves up each time we have fallen, and we have continued to walk on. In our journey towards creating a prosperous and dignified life for our people, we may find ourselves sometimes in the wilderness. We may not agree on the destination. There are many who would complain of the hardships on this journey. And indeed, there are even others who would suggest that life in bondage was far better. But as long as we believe, we work together and hold on to our faith, we would create the country of prosperity that our people deserve. Nobody ever said it was going to be easy. And as has been said, we climbed the greatest hill only to realize that there are many more hills to climb. Even the centuries-old, most advanced nations continue to climb their own hills. Challenges would come our way, but believing in ourselves and working together, we shall overcome them. We've climbed many hills together, and we shall conquer many more in our journey of progress. Mr. Speaker, as I present this State of the Nation address, our nation is confronted with one of such hills, the challenge of providing adequate electricity to power industry, business, and for residential consumption. The effects and frustrations posed by the power deficit are clearly felt in our workplaces, in our homes, in our schools, and hospitals. The storage of food, academic activity, artisans such as barbers, hairdressers, welders, and healthcare providers are all feeling the pinch of the power shortage. Big business and industry are also suffering and threatening to lay off workers. As leader of this nation, by the grace of God, I, more than anyone else, understand the adverse impact of this energy shortfall on the growth of our economy. We have been here before. In 1983, in 1998, in 2006 and 2007, we suffered a similar occurrence. In the past, what we have done has been to manage ourselves out of the situation. I do not intend to manage the situation as has been done in the past. I intend to fix it. I owe it to the Ghanaian people. I, John Dramani Mahama, will fix this energy challenge. Perhaps the impact of the energy shortage is felt much greater today, not only because of the growth of our economy, but also because many people have access to electricity than was the case in the past. Access to electricity in Ghana is 76% and ranks second only to South Africa in the whole of sub-Saharan Africa. Furthermore, changes in the architectural designs of many homes and offices has resulted in a situation which requires the use of more air conditioning to maintain a bearable temperature through most of the times of the year. Increasing demand for power supply is also being driven by our rapidly growing population. All these, together with other structural and generational issues, have contributed to an electricity gap that has oscillated between 300 and 600 megawatts. The lessons we must learn from all this is for us to plan better for the future. Firstly, our demand for power is estimated to be growing in excess of 10% per annum. It means that conservatively, we would have to double our electricity supply capacity every 8 years if we are to keep up with the demand. Following power purchase agreements we have entered into with several independent power producers and plants that the Volta River Authority is currently working on, we expect, starting from this year and over the next 5 years, to inject 3,665 megawatts of power into our power transmission grid. The breakdown is as follows. Sunon Asogli Phase 2 power plant, 360 megawatts. Sunon Asogli coal-fired plant, 750 megawatts. Sen Power, 350 megawatts. Jacobson Electro, 360 megawatts. Amandi, 240 megawatts. General Electric GE, 1,000 megawatts. VRA T4, 185 megawatts. VRA Pong Tema Power Plant, 220 megawatts. Mr. Speaker, additionally, completion of plant steam generation units on some current single-cycle plants that we have, that's namely thermal plants, TT1, Senate, and KTPP, would add another 330 megawatts of generation. When this planned addition of approximately 3,800 megawatts to our generation is realized, it will assure our energy security into the future. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, since 1965, we have relied principally on hydro sources for our power supply. Our base load generation must now be shifted from hydro to thermal power. Hydropower must become supplementary. In the last 2 years, because of low rainfall in the catchment area of the Volta, the level of the Akosombo Reservoir has fallen to a critical level. Challenges with thermal generation has also meant that we have had to run our hydro plants at nearly full capacity during this period, thereby drawing down more water from the Volta Lake. The result is that today, Akosombo, with installed capacity of 1,020 megawatts, is currently supplying only at about 50% of its capacity. The Pong Hydropower Station has an installed capacity of 160 megawatts and is currently operating at about 70%. The 400 megawatt Bui hydropower plant is operating at about 58% during peak consumption periods. Thirdly, Mr. Speaker, if we are to achieve energy security into the future, we must complete the reform of our power sector. The new Ministry of Power is working urgently on proposals to restructure the power sector, beginning with the Volta River Authority and the Bui Power Authority. The intention would be to bring the management of our hydro plants under one entity. This would lead to a consolidation of our thermal resources in partnership with pension fund managers like SNIT and other institutional investors. I believe that this will allow us to focus and specialize in these two critical power sectors of hydro and thermal. If our plans for energy security are to succeed, radical restructuring of the downstream distribution sector must occur almost immediately. Under the new Millennium Challenge Compact, we have an opportunity to review, restructure, and totally refocus the operations of especially the Electricity Company of Ghana. And I can guarantee to Ghanaians that we will transform the Electricity Company of Ghana into what we will all come to call a truly customer-responsive, efficient, and profitable organization. Mr. Speaker, admittedly, part of ECG's problem is the creation of government institutions that believe that they are entitled to use power without paying for it. That was possible in the days of cheap power from Akosombo. Today, with the entry of private sector players and IPPs into the upstream generating sector, government cannot continue to subsidize power. In November last year, I carved out a new Ministry of Power from the former Ministry of Energy and Petroleum. This was meant to give a sharper focus and effort to the resolution of the present energy shortfall. As an immediate measure to resolve the current crisis, I have authorized this new Ministry of Power to procure and feed into the system 1,000 megawatts of emergency power. As I speak, guarantees are being finalized for the following emergency power plants. The car power ship from Turkey, which will supply us with 450 megawatts. The APR power plant, sponsored by companies in Dubai, that will feed us with 250 megawatts. And the General Electric emergency plant that will supply us with 300 megawatts. The Ministry of Power estimates that this emergency power can be rolled out in months to bring relief to the system, while the more permanent plants that I mentioned previously are being worked on. I would hold the Minister to his publicly stated commitments to resolve the electricity supply deficit by the end of this year. Mr. Speaker, the prospects of gas-fired thermal generation look very bright. The Ghana gas plant at Ituabo is going through its commissioning phase and is currently supplying about 60 million standard cubic feet of gas to the Aboise enclave of thermal plants. As VRA and partners put their thermal plants in Aboise in a better shape to take up more of the gas, the Ituabo gas plant would ramp up production to 120 million standard cubic feet. We're also retrieving large quantities of LPG and other valuable liquids as byproducts of the gas production. Gas supplies are expected to rise in 2016 when the production begins in the 10 field. Just 3 weeks ago, I witnessed the signing of an agreement to begin work on the ENI Vitol Sankofa field. This investment is worth $7 billion